Okay, so let's continue on from last Thursday, where we left off right before we discussed the topic of how to string together a lot of command and be lazy, right? So this thing is called shell scripting. If you have been using Linux before, it probably means that you install something before, at least, right? If you install Ubuntu, you need to install additional software to make it useful. You might have been running a bunch of commands already. Today we'll basically cover how to run series of commands and write a script to let Ubuntu do whatever you want them to do and make them as autonomous as you design them to be based on your script. So first of all, we do have a server, as we mentioned, and I created account for everyone is up. Yay. And your username is letter U, followed by your student ID. So let's say if your student ID is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so 5, 7, 8, 9. For some reason, I skipped 6. Then your username will be U 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. Right? Your password is sysq all lowercase. That's the IP address of the server. So whenever it asks for the IP address, put in that number 10.126.125.13. These IP address, if you think about it, basically it acts like an address for everyone so that they can find what computer you should connect to in the worldwide, not worldwide, but in the internet, right? That we connect here. Internet basically connects every single computer that connects to the internet will see each other. They might not be able to access each other. You use this IP address to know where to go. Again, password is sysq. Once you are there, run this command passwd. This is to change your password. I'm gonna go over this again too at the end of the class. Just don't forget. I'll remind you again, but this is something I want to make sure you don't forget. And right before we end the class, I'm gonna keep this slide up so you know how to connect. If you have the Mac OS, go to the terminal. The terminal is that black icon thing that you can click. It will open up the terminal, I guess, for you to type command in, right? As we discussed, terminal takes your command from human, give it to the shell. Type SSH. SSH is called secure shell. It's secure and it allows to use the shell of the server you put in. Right now, you say, I want to establish a secure shell between your terminal and the system skill server, given the IP address. In Windows, you can use secure shell by the program called PuTTY, P-U-T-T-Y. Go to Google, type in P-U-T-T-Y. The first thing that comes up should be putty.org, which gets you to the file that you need to download so that you can connect to the machine. There'll be a text box that says server, put that number in. It would then allow you to connect. Once you connect, put in your username, put in your password, voila, you're done. Now, before we continue on about scripting, one more thing is about basically ability for you to log into the server without typing the password every time while making sure it's secure. This is called public key cryptography. We will not go into the maths behind it. But think about it this way. In security world, we always use Alice and Bob, A and B. They get bored. They don't want to just name people A and B. They say Alice and Bob. So let's say you have the cat. No, I do have a cat, but it's not related. Let's say you want to connect and give information from Alice to Bob, right? And both Alice and Bob has their own version of both public and private key. The public key is the key that everyone sees. The private key is the key that you only have. In this case, Alice will give Bob Alice's public key. Bob will use it to encrypt the data so that you can send the encrypt data back to Alice. Once Alice got it, he or she will use the private key to unlock, decrypt it to get the message. The same techniques apply for what we just said, secure shell. If you don't want to type in the password all the time, this secure shell allows you to authenticate your client's key. Basically, you will act like that. Basically, it acts like this. This is your computer. In your computer, you type in SSH-keygen. If you have Mac OS, this will work. If you have the what we call Linux subsystem for Windows, this would also work. Once you type in SSH-keygen, go to these files, right? Then on the server side, there will be a file called this, id-rsa.pub. Put in your key that just got generated there. Put in your key that just got generated. This is your local machine. This is the server. If you go there, you can then look at the .ssh/authorized key. Basically, this is a file that contains the key, the public key, right? Which is available here. So you copy this over to this file. Keep this, don't copy it. This is your private key. Keep it on your computer. Copy the public key. The PUB means that this is public. Everyone can have them. You cannot decrypt it without both keys. Basically, you need both of them to get the message. Keep the private key. Give people the public key. The public key will work with the private key to get the message. So these allow. So this is basically a two-step process. The first thing, as I said, type in SSH-keygen. Basically, follow this. RSA is one of the encryption techniques that give you a really hard to hack number. The hack number represents your password. Then go to id_rsa.pub on the server. This is sysq. What is this address? This is your home directory, right? Go to .ssh. Dot means this is a hidden folder. It's a hidden folder specific to SSH. This allows you to give access to your own laptop whenever you want to connect to the server. Afterward, then you don't have to use the password. Personally, I still prefer typing my own password every time I log in. So this is up to you. This is up to you. Just in case that someone use my computer, right? So that he or she cannot just randomly log into the server, because it will literally stop asking for the password. All right, that's it. We will cover this during the in-class exercise period. Toward the end of this class, we will now continue on to shell scripting, which means we can be lazy or we can start being lazy. Basically, right, we've learned about different shell commands. What is so there was a question about what is the SSH IP, right? The IP address is sorry for me going back here, 10.126.125.13. Yep. I'm gonna go back to this. So please bear with us. You will have time to connect, and I'll make sure everyone get to verify that your account is created. Just in case I put in typos, your username is incorrect when I put it in, right? There are 40 something of you for all post sections, and there's a chance that I make errors. I'm human. I'm not perfect when I need to like type things in. So I'm gonna go back to this slide. Oh, the password is Syskill, Syskill, all lowercase. I will say that again when we toward the end of this class. And now that I realize I record this session, so if you if you do not change your password right away, everyone will see your password. Yep. So people can log into your account and delete your homework. You probably don't like that to happen. And also, don't go to your friend's account and do that while they are not while they haven't changed your password or do something crazy with your friend's account. I do have a log that I can look at who log into when, right? So basically, now that we move on the scripting part of shell, right? So we can write a series of commands and script it. Here's one example. What would this do? Let's go through this one by one. Shebang. What does shebang do? It tells that, okay, whatever goes in this file, interpret this as a bash shell script. Use /bin/bash to run whatever is down there. Right? You can change it to Python, then whatever is down there should be Python script. Echo will literally print the word hello, right? This is redirect the output into test.txt. So if you have a file called test.txt, the first thing you see here is the letter hello. Then copy test.txt to text.test, right? So basically you make copy into another file called text.test, which contains the word hello. And cat text.test, what will happen if I do with cat? What will I see? It does. So as we cover in the last class, right? The extension doesn't mean anything. So you can do .text, .tex, .txt, .abcde. It doesn't really matter here because Vim Nano, like basically text editor can still open it. So it can be .tex, and it was intentional to let you see that, hey, I don't care about the extension for the file name. In most operating systems, they will try to detect what the dot extension will do. So if you've been playing with LaTeX, right? LaTeX is a software that allows you to write a text and it would generate a really beautiful PDF based on different templates. It actually is awesome for you. I use it to write papers all the time because it will generate a paper that looks much nicer than Microsoft Word, right? So .text is actually LaTeX extension. If Windows see this file, then okay, that's a LaTeX file. Over here, it's just a normal text file. So if you do cat text.test, it would literally print out hello on your screen, right? And then remove text.test will get rid of text.test. So afterward, after you run the script, this file will be gone. Your screen will see hello because of this command, right? And then there'll be this file created called test.txt, which contains the word hello. You can define a variable, right? Because when you write any program, including scripts, when you write a script, you want variables because you can use it to store intermediate results, right? So you can name, first of all, you can name them whatever you want, but it only has to it must contain only letters, numbers, and underscore. Three things: letters, number, and underscore. Otherwise, if you have special symbol, it will kind of yell at you. Here is one example, right? This specify that this is a variable So basically you create, right? You create a variable called user. User will take in the value. So this is basically take the value. This declare a variable called user that takes in, right, the value of the command who am I. Who am I is a command that you can type in. It will print the username, right? This will create a variable called greeting that takes in the value welcome. So now you have the variable. So let me put in a box here. This is variable that you created. And this is the value, right? So greeting will now store welcome, right? User will store, well, let's say username is Rashada, right? Basically the username. And then date will store. Date is another command you can type in. It will literally print the day, right? This is the format of the date. The formatting today will be, say, the plus %A will print out if it's Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. Right? So right now it will be Tuesday. And then it will print this. Again, the $sign means I will treat that thing and I'll print the value of that thing. So $sign greeting will go look at the variable and print the value of the variable. So in this case, it will be welcome back, Rashada. Today is Tuesday, which is the best day of the entire week. Then the next line, this is the environment variable, right, that we discussed earlier. It would say your bash shell version is, I guess, 2.2, whatever version the bash shell is right now. Right? You can print it out by using the variable bash version. So basically the script will print the text that say, welcome back, the username, today is what day is today, and the rest of the text. Here's some more example. Basically, let's say you are working in a server and you want to make sure you write a script that back up your work, right? So this is a script that if you run, it will back up the user home address, right? So over here again, user is your own user. So in this case, it will be Rashada, or your user will be you followed by your student ID, right? Declare a variable called input. Now, if you have a table here, right, input, you now have /home/Rashada, right? Output, based on our script, it will have /temp/Rashada underscore home, right? Underscore now day, I want year, month, date, format, hour. So basically it will be the command date. I want year dash month dash day underscore hour, minute, second. So it will be right now, I guess this will be 2021 1 what day is today? 12 underscore hours, minutes, and second dot tar dot gzip. This is a file name. This is just the name, right? This is a variable that output will hold. It will hold this value. What do you do next? Over here is the command tar. This is basically create an archive. Basically, that archive means I'm gonna take whatever is in my home directory, which is the input round, right? /home/Rashada. I'm gonna combine every file there. compress them because you have the dash C mean compress. And then leave the files at this output location, right? So put the files at /temp/rashada underscore home underscore 2021 underscore 1 underscore 12 blah 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 .tar.gzip. Once you finish backing this up, print backup of /home/rashada complete detail about the output backup files ls-out and $output. Basically you basically ls long list, print all the details for that file. This way, you can keep backing up your home directory. My quick recommendation, we don't have unlimited hard drive on our server. So I think it's pretty safe. You can do this, but don't do it every single day. I'm not sure if we can have the... So I'm gonna try to clean basically this folder /temp, right? I will not guarantee it will go across semester, but I'll try to make sure it at least within the semester you can use it for storing temporary data. Don't share your work there. All right. All right. So now that we cover variables, and you already seen, right, with the combination of we know the commands and we know how to use variables, you can do fancy things. We just learn a script that will back things up. In fact, if you go through more Ubuntu and Linux-based user guide, there's also like a file that will get run every time you go to sleep. Basically, every for 24 hours, it will run whatever commands is there, which means you can back up your files every day, every week, every a few days. These are called cron script. If you're interested, let me know. We are not going to cover that because we don't have all the time in the world to like cover everything in Linux. But using Linux and trying to be lazy is awesome. I can minimize my work and have more time to play. So variable also have special type of variable. That's why you can't use all the symbols. The pound key is the total number of arguments. For example, you do ls-l test. There are 3 arguments. This is the 0th argument, the first argument, and the second argument, right? So if you do $pound, this is 3. There are 3 arguments. So these are the additional input to put in after the command. $0 will point to the command you put in, ls, right? In this case, it will represent the name of the script. 1, 2, 3 will be whatever comes next, right? The next input. $store and also $@, and these at are all command line argument. So in this case, if you run it, you get ls-l test, right? Because it's the whole thing. Basically, whatever you type in for this command, you get it through $store or $at. The quotation will add a quote to that. $question mark is the exit status of the last program. Let's say your program runs into error and you want to figure out a test script to see what's the error code. You can write a script to use the $question mark to get the status when the last program will run exit. Dealing with quotation is a little bit annoying, to be honest here. When you put a string without a quotation, these are interpreted normally as a string, like a normal string that you learn in Intro to Programming. But if you put a quotation in, it means that whole thing, even though it's a variable, that whole thing becomes just a string. Let's say you do quotation $temp, and somehow this temp is 4. Instead of interpreting this thing as 4, it will as a integer, right? 4 is integer. Now this dollar sign variable name will become 4 as a string. This single quote will now, let's say this is 4. This means that a single quote basically now turns your variable into $temp as a string. It will not say, hey, temp is 4, this is 4. No, it's actually literally $TMP. The command in this type of code, this single quotation are executed, and the output of the command is inserted as if it was assigned to a variable. Then you evaluate the variable. I guess that's a series of logical things that internally happen. That's why it's a string. So you can use if else, compare, right? You can compare things. As I said, there are integer and string, numeric comparison and string comparison. Not sure what I can do beyond showing this table. You just less than, greater than, equal, not equal, less or equal, greater or equal. These are the keywords you can do. As simple as that. Here are the example at the end. 100-EQ50. It means that is 100 equal to 50. GNU, which is a string, equal Unix. It means that I'm going to check if this is equal or not, right? And here are some examples. Let's say I declare number A to 400, number B to 200. If, note that there's a white space everywhere, you put in spacebar everywhere, including between brackets. Why do you need that? Shell script is kind of dumb. If you put bracket right after the word, it will treat that bracket as a part of the word. So every time you have the new thing, the new symbol, put a spacebar. This is one of the most common error you run into in your assignment 1. Put in spacebar so that you separate out the symbol. In here, if num A is less than num B, then it would just print num A is less than num B. Otherwise, num A is greater than num B. So if I run this, what will happen? Is A less than B or is A greater than B? 400 is greater than 200, right? So it would print 400 because this is num A, right? 400 is greater than, what is num B? 200. And that's it, right? Everything here is pretty much self-explanatory for now, right? And it's, to be honest, when you read the shell script, it's just annoying because you need to put like space everywhere and there's a lot of command. It's not as clean as like a Python script, but it's pretty easy to understand. Over here, for example, if the number, right, of arguments is not equal to 1, so you can print illegal number parameters to check if your script should work properly or not, because the user might not actually type in enough parameters. If the $ app, which is your command, will actually equal to your string, otherwise basically printing yes and no. Now that we talk about if else, the next logical thing that we have to talk about is for loop, right? You can do this for I in 1, 2, 3 to echo $I to basically print 1, 2, 3. So you can loop this way. This will loop while assigning the value I to be 1, then 2, and then 3. You can use a while loop as well. While counter is less than 3, let counter plus equal 1, increment counter by 1, echo counter, so it will print 1, 2, and 3. So what does this do? Actually, I just showed this in an example last time, right? This is shown in the example last time. I have an item.text which contain bash scripting tutorial. The code in here, which is for I in cat item give bash scripting tutorial, right? For I in these words, echo the word count for each of the I. So if you run it, you'll see 4, 9, and 8. Why? WC-C is word count, but I don't count the word, I count the character. So if you do a manual for WC-C, will just count the character. It will count the character while you're going through the loop. What does each loop do? The first time in the loop, you say, hey, I, right, in cat of item is this. So the first iteration, I is bash. The second iteration, I is scripting. The third iteration, I is tutorial, right? Basically, for each iteration, count number of character on the word. That's why you get 4, 9, and 8, because batch has 4 characters, scripting has 9, tutorial has 8 characters. And that's it for the part about scripting. You can kind of play around with different commands we learned so far, things like airtail, grep to find the files. Here are some additional references that you can use. To be honest, Google is a really, really, really good resource in the sense that if you want to say find and command in Linux to do certain things, you can say do certain things, put in the search bar, and then Linux command. There's a pretty high chance that we will answer in the first three links. Because these things are so common and it's so common to the point that Google already learned which one is the answer to your question. All right, so we are kind of done with the first half of the class for today about scripting. Two options here. Before we go to regular expression, do you want to take a 5-minute break? So regular expression deal with the giving your input more flexibility for you to find things like files, text, character. Combined with shell scripting, this is going to be making your script a lot more powerful. So assuming that this silent means either you all pass out or you need a break. So let's take a quick break. We'll meet at 12:50 because given the pace we're at, I'm sure we'll be done by around like 1:25. While afterward, we can go back to Discord and make sure everyone can log in the server and play around with the in-class exercise. All right? Okay, so let's meet again at 12:50. Yeah, so there was a question that you need to reset your computer. Please do and rejoin later. And this is the perfect time to do that so that we can take a quick break. We can rejoin. And I don't mind, right? Actually, my motto about teaching is I actually don't care what you do when I'm teaching. I'm not like that old traditional professor who like you need to listen to whatever I say. I don't care. I slept through my class before because I was working on a homework and I have sleep. Like I understand how you feel. Make sure if you have questions, the only thing I really, really beg you to do is if you have questions, let me know. That's the only, to me, that's the most effective way to learn, right? I appreciate if you stay focused on my class, and I'm trying my best to make sure, at least even though it's online, I try to make sure the energy level of what I say and things that I say is as high as possible so you don't pass out, right? But I seriously, if you have to like eat, like me, if you have your cat walking around climbing you all the time, that's fine. I don't care, right? So if you have to reboot, feel free to do that. Just let me know. If I need to wait, I'll wait. Uh, yes. So the next question is for the assignment submission. You kind of have to go to our server, and the server is run in Linux. That's how you can do your assignment. Basically, this is designed so you can do your assignment using a single setup for everyone. Right? This way, if you somehow write a script that work on your machine doesn't work on the server, you can go there and test it to make sure it works. Because it does happen before. So use our server to test your script. If it works there, it better work on my own setup because I will use literally the same setup as you do. Do we have to be connected to MUVPN? Yes, that's a great question. You have to connect to the VPN. I think the reason is for some reason Mahidol University has like ancient firewall that is kind of weird, but at least they have VPN now, so you can connect. So please do connect to VPN before you connect through the SSH, whatever we teach in the beginning of this class, to the server. How do you connect to VPN? So you go to announcement. I've already put in the link for the step-by-step on how to do that in the class website. When you connect to oh, interesting. So let's do this after class so that WebEx doesn't freeze because we're moving to Discord after we're done with the lecture anyway. And I'm pretty sure Discord will not freeze. One reason why WebEx might freeze is, think about it this way. This is how VPN works. Your laptop, right? And over here, this is Mahidol University at Nakhon Pathom, right? This is the VPN server that you connect to inside Mahidol University. Basically, you're making this connection so that whatever you do, it's as if you are in here and you browse internet, connect to other machine through Mahidol University. What happened is originally in a different color here. I'm not gonna go sidetrack, right? So you have WebEx server that connects like this without the VPN. If you go through VPN and then go through WebEx, basically you're going here first and then here. So I'm not sure what happened. It might be because it get disconnected and never actually re-established the connection because WebEx server was like, I have no idea what this IP address is. I never seen it before, or what. Right. So this is my guess. It might be something more complicated. I'm not sure. Right. As I said, Mahidol University has their own weird setup for firewall. If you want to learn more, definitely talk to Ajahn Tơi. Ajahn Tơi will have a lot to say about that. Yeah. At least also that's what I've heard to some extent. Okay, yeah. So let's do 2 more minutes of the break. If you have questions, feel free to put in here. Peaceful. My cat are sleeping. I will not move. Yeah. Yes, you're welcome. I mean, as I said, right? So question in class, I love it. And if it doesn't have to be class related, as long as it's to some extent relevant to your life and my life, right? I would not mind, especially during the break. I got like random questions about like any trick for like applying to to different like programs across like basically once you're done with MUIC for those who want to like study abroad and tricks like that, right? I mean, I will not mind at all to share, right? And this is the time for that. And with the online class, we are a lot more disconnected, to be honest, right? I used to be hanging out in 1409 all the time. Like uh, But with online classes, like there's not a lot of chance to do that. So yeah, I think it's a good way to connect to my students. All right, so you cannot connect to the server. Let me double check the IP address real quick. I might got 125 and 126 in different order. Definitely those number 10, either 125 before 126 or 126 before 175 and then 13 at the end. So after this class, after the lecture, I'm definitely will check that. This is like a telling sign that my memory is going really, really bad as I age. I used to do better. This will happen to all of you when you hit 30. And I don't want to imagine what will happen to me when I hit 40 and 50. Yeah. Now I understand my parents a lot more on like whenever they say they don't remember. Okay, so let's continue. Oh, that did not work too. Interesting. What does it say when you try to connect? Like, is there an error message or is it fail to connect? So you're using PuTTY? I use Windows PuTTY for that. Yeah, and Pulse Secure should work. At least the last time I teach a class, it works. Oh my god, I need to check what happened. Can you DDoS MUIC? Don't do that, please. You will get into trouble. So don't do it. What is DDoS? DDoS is like denial of access. Denial of service. OS of service. Denial of service. DDoS. There's no option to download. Yeah, that's fine. There's no option to download House VPN. Oh yes, guys, like if one people on the crash, come on. I mean, I guess two because I can log in, but it's so slow. I think we all share the same sentiment on Sky for both like lecturers and students. And I'm sure all the admins and everyone is like, yeah, we better get this to a better status. I just talked to P. Frank. He graduated MUIC last semester, and he was like, he cannot connect to Sky, so he doesn't have access to his transcript. I'm like, how do you then apply to companies? Oh, interesting. Uh, I guess we might need to postpone the in-class exercise. Let's just keep trying for like maybe 10 to 15 minutes after the regular expression part of this class, and we'll figure this out together. If it doesn't work, well, yes, any success.
The Pulse Secure, do I have to install it in
Yeah.
VirtualBox?
Oh no, you don't have to install VirtualBox. It will work on your machine. There's a version for a Mac and Windows.
And
Basically, Pulse Secure is designed to get you this connection that I just draw. Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you for that link. Do I game? Yes, I used to play lots and lots of games. I do play fewer games these days, just because of lack of time, not because of lack of interest.
I think the Pulse Secure is on the VPN at Untitled tab, not software download.
Oh. Yep. Sometimes things happen, they change the link and it's gone to a different location without updating. All right, so let's continue on for now. For now, right? Okay, let's keep going until we finish the lecture. Yeah, I appreciate that. But well, actually, no, not yet. Listen to our lecture first. All right, stop whatever you're doing now that we are negative 5 minutes after the break. So let's move on. You have a lot of time toward the end. All right, so let's talk about regular expression. The first thing I need to tell you is like, why do we care, right? It allows you to process string in Linux. And your question is like, well, I've been processing string. You just seen a lot of example about string, wildcard, the star, plus, and the question mark thing, right? But these things allow you to be even more lazy. The regular expression allow you to kind of put a script on the matching of the string. So more on Grep. Grep takes regular expression as a keyword when you want to search things, right? You want to search different words inside the file. It has different version of the variation. So a simple search will use a basic version of regular expression. There's egrep, which is taking the extended regular expression. That's a faster version of grep because, well, there's a question about you can use PuTTY instead of Linux VM for this class. Yes, you feel free to use PuTTY. Just connect to the server. Linux is there. Is there also different functions? It's just a different version of Ubuntu. That's all. I think the Ubuntu that you download these days is a little bit more recent compared to the one on the server. The one on the server is a bit more stable, especially when you are running C code. All right, come back to Grep. There's also a Grep that allows you to search a compressed file, a zip file, right? And here are some example. Grep man for the files. If you literally type this in, what will you get is, let's say the file is this whole thing, right? If you grep man file, it will print these 3 lines that contain the letter man, which is this line, right? There's a letter man here, so it will print this correspond to this line. Line number 1 is line number 2 that contains the word man. I thought I saw the word man. Oh, here. Yeah. And then here, there's the word man right there, line number 3, right? So you see that line number 2 and line number 3 get print after you run grep. Basically, after you type this and hit enter, you get these 3 lines. It's as simple as that. And you might find this useful, as I said, when you have a code that's about 1,000 files across 10 different folders. You can do this to get the exact line. It will actually print the files, the location of where that files appear. So you know where the file is, so you know it's also on that line in the file. egrep extended regular expression. For example, if you want to check whether it matched the word families or the plural version of that word, families, right? You can do this. Family or families. This vertical bar is an or. Basically, it means it will match either the word family or the plural version of the word families. This is regular expression or RegEx, right? It allows you to search for one or more specific pattern. This is actually used in many programming languages. It allows you to be a little bit more broad about what you want to do match. This thing is called string matching. It's trying to match certain things you're trying to search. You can specify what you want to search. It's pattern matching. Think of it as like it's kind of the same as pattern matching in image, right? but this time it's on the text. The syntax determines what pattern you're looking for. The first thing I need to tell you is the concept called the anchor. All right, sorry guys, that one is the one I got from Google research MUIC VPN. It just happened to be an outdated version. I'm sorry. Okay, let me double check with Ajahn Kanat in case he know about the most recent version of it. Also with your upperclassmen, and if you know someone who took this class before, check with him or her as well. The fact that I don't have a MUIC account, this make life miserable when I need to check these things. Yeah, because I'm a part-time lecturer. This thing requires like an actual full-time lecturer status. So I wish I can join there and work there. The anchor, which is this hat thing, and the dollar sign, right? These are anchor. The hat thing go at the beginning of the word. The dollar sign go at the end. Anchor means that it match anything that start with or end with. The hat is for start with, dollar sign is for end with. You can do hat and dollar sign in one search term. It means that the extract that string has to start with the word the and end with the word end. It has to be the something 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 and. Right. Roar over here is just any string that has the text roar in it because it doesn't have any anchor. There's also quantifier, right? You want to quantify things. Star plus question mark and this curly bracket. Star means any string that has A, B followed by 0 or more of the letter C. This is different from the star wild card that we learned before. This is 0 or more C of the same letter. It has to be this letter C. Plus 1 or more C. The only difference is 0 or 1 or more. Question mark, just 0 or 1 letter C. 2 over here is CC, followed by 2 Cs. 2 or more, 2 to 5 Cs. The bracket specify how many times this would occur. The parentheses can be used in conjunction with these things. So instead of just searching for the letter C, you can do parentheses BC, which means now you're looking at the sequence BC instead of just C. Sorry. So ABC25 means that you can match with ABC, BC because there are two versions of BC. My bad. I somehow write BB. So this would work. A, B, C, B, C, B, C would work as well, but A, B, C, B, C, that's 4. E, B, C, like 6 of them will not match. So you can use a combination of different things here, as we say. The OR operator that I showed you earlier, this vertical bar, it means that it's either over here A, B, or C, means that A followed by B or C. So A, B works, A, C works, A, B, C doesn't match. This is the same as previous. Whatever is in this corner bracket, I'm running out of how I call my bracket. That's parentheses, curly bracket, and bracket. So this normal bracket, you take each letter in there as one literal. What if I say this? A, B, C, D. This means B or CD together. It has to be CD together, but I put parentheses in CD, right? So you can combine different types of expression. Over here is an example, right? The bracket expression can use in conjunction with the dash to do A, B, C. You can do A dash C. If you say A dash G, for example, it would also include A, B, C, D, E, F, G, such as here, right? A dash F means A, B, C, D, E, F, capital letter A, B, C, D, E, F, or 0 to 9. This means I'm matching any hexadecimal digit, right? This means that it's 0 to 9 followed by the percent sign, literally. 0 to 9 followed by the percent sign. This means it has to start with either letter A to C or uppercase A to Z, right? Oh, actually, no, forgot. Sorry. This hat doesn't mean it starts with anymore. Hat in conjunction with the or expression is the negation of that expression. It needs to not have that letter. Not have that letter. You put the literal not to that logic. There's also different classes of character. The backslash, as I said, is a special character. It means that if you see backslash D, it's digit. Backslash W is a word character. It's like A to C. Backslash S is white space, the space bar or tab or the line break. The line break is when you hit enter in Microsoft Word, you go to new line. That's a line break. Dot, any character. D, big D is the non-digit character. So backslash D means it's a single non-digit character. Lowercase d will be a single digit character. So the uppercase is the not version of that. The not version of the lowercase. So backslash s is anything that doesn't have white space. Here are some examples. I guess this hat pound dot star. What does it mean? It means that hash pound means it has to start with a pound sign. Dot mean any character, so one single any character. And it star mean 1 0 or more of that character. So the star thing will be tied to dot, right? So basically this means it has to start with a pound. It can be pound A, pound B, pound C. Everything is fine here. It has to have at least one character. The rest has to be the repeat of that character. Here, it means it has to match data files, right? Obviously. Followed by a number, one or more of the same number. These bracket and plus means that it doesn't have to be the same number, the exact number. So 0, 1, 2 dot text works here as well. Why can't it match different type of number? Because you already specify anything here is fine. 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. Plus means you need to have at least one number. Okay, so this would match data file dot text will not match because it need to have at least one number. Escape, right? Escape, the backslash dot. We treat this literally as a dot. It has to be dot text. It doesn't mean any character anymore. Negative, curly bracket 0, 1, 0 plus, 2, 9 plus means that start with a negative as a symbol, right? It has to have 0 or 1 of the negative, right? So this match, nothing here also would match. So this is basically any number, an integer. So this is integer, right? You can be like 20, 21, 159. These numbers are fine because 0 or 1 negative, in this case, the 0 negative sign here, followed by at least one number. -10 is also fine because 0 or 1 negative also match here. This means is I guess floating point number, right? Something like 1.102 is fine. -2.750 is also fine. This means it has to start with Rashada. This means that it has to start with Rashada followed by the dollar and end. But this means that literally one word, Rashada. All right. So the set command is another command in Linux that play with regular expression. This is a stream editor. S is stream. Ed is editor. What is a stream? Let me close the door because I think my parent is playing with my niece. All right. What is a stream? Stream is anything that relates to series of data. Typically, this means it's a file. This can be a file. This can be an input-output like keyboard stroke that you type in, or the network packet that comes in. Set command is, think of it as like a text editor that go through a file and edit whatever you want to edit to modify. And this happens line by line, in a non-interactive way. Non-interactive means that you don't get to just go to that line and type in through your keyboard. You type in the command change everything based on what you do. In other words, this is kind of like search and replace. For example, here is the option, how to use it. Set followed by option, command, and then the files you want to edit. What are in the command? The commands are, for example, replace, as is replace. Replace, when you see man, when you see a word man, change it to women, do it globally, do it everywhere in that file. So over here, if this is the text, it will change the word single man, such a man, to single women, such a woman, right? Here is one more example using regular expression. Over here, right? It search for any letters that end with the ing, right? Singing, playing, feeling, things like that. So these parentheses are what I highlight, right? Put in the same text, but have parentheses around it. So after you do this, you see, hey, I'm gonna start now see the parentheses around that word. It basically tries to detect that occurrence and put parentheses around that word. Cut is another command that cut a column of data based on what you specified. For example, here, cut -d F13 means that I'm gonna cut the column by leaving the column 1 and 3. Trim. So this thing I'm gonna go quickly because this thing you have to kind of play around with it and go through the manual. I can't just like describe the manual. What you need to do is to do man cut. It will tell you what are the options you can use, right? TR is trim, basic, not trim, translate. It translate one character into another set of characters. Example here, TR 1, 2, 3 to 4, 5, 6 will change from this to ABC 4, 5, 6. Over here, change new line into comma. So instead of having ABC and then 1, 2, 3 like this, it would change to comma. This should be 1, 2, 3 because I didn't actually change it to 4, 5, 6. I did not tell them to do that. So this should be ABC 1, 2, and 3. A quick note on input and output files. This is not safe to do because you're printing this file. Basically, you read this file, modify the same file, and then write the result to the same file. In Linux system, this means something not safe because you are basically reading and writing the same thing. What if you're writing something that's far ahead of what you're reading, right? A safer way is put in the temp files, and then replace the old file. Make sure you finish modifying whatever you want to modify in a temporary file, and then replace by move that temp file back to this file you want to change. And that's it for today for the lecture. So now it's time to play around with VPN, SSH, and making sure we can connect to the server, or at least I hope we can connect to the server. Now that you have your account, one thing quickly before we finish up the lecture, here are more reference on regular expression. So these are some of the links that teach you. Some of them are kind of like manual for different command like grep, and then also manual for the command set, right? And this is just for regular expression. And this is definitely a good one, cheat sheet. These are common regular expression with the example. Yep, so it seems like no one can connect to the server while you're using VPN. Okay. Well, so in that case, I guess there are two things we can do. I can kind of start going through the next lecture. I can leave it for you to do the first. So in class exercise 2, there's the first and the second part where you can do it locally. If you have a question, we can go through that. And then the part 3 and 4 can require the server. Let's actually move to Discord so that we can kind of like troubleshoot this issue together as a team. How about this? So let me keep this slides, and I'm gonna keep the slides up. Just need to save it as a annotated one so that I have a clean deck of slides for the next section. Okay, I'm gonna lift this up, and then I'm gonna move to Discord on my desktop right there. All right, we shall move over to Discord so that we can troubleshoot what's going on.